What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Yeah, this is a new camera angle. Got a little shadow in the background. Give them a little color bring a little more color to the show. So
You look like in this camera angle like you're about to go to jail, man. And it's not
dark.
because
I look dark.
it's not because you it's not because you.
Just say it, man. The darkness brings a certain
I
unease
mean,
to.
to America, yes, I agree. Yes, I agree 100%. I'm glad you're on my side on this issue,
If I
devil's
dip,
advocate.
if I dip my hat low enough, like it blocks my eyes out, like dark. That's the kind of feel that I want to give, like when I'm pitching on a mound.
That's that Andy Pettit look right there under that glove.
Uh,
Andrew
Andy Pettit,
Hank Pettit.
Andy Pettit will get the sign. He'll be like, hey, I just fuck my mic up. Andy Pettit gets the sign, be like,
That's not Andy Pettit, man.
yeah, it
Not
was,
Andy Pettit.
yeah,
Andy Pettit had his glove like this.
yeah. And when he had to say like, okay, I need that sign back. What face would he give?
Yeah. You're thinking about what's his face? James Paxton, man. He always looks like that.
No. This is not James Paxton. Trust me. I'll prove it. I'll prove it. But anyways, guys, August 11th, Tuesday. We didn't get to record yesterday, so we'll be dropping this episode today. A lot has happened in baseball. In case you didn't know, the St. Louis Cardinals still haven't played a game since they've had to quarantine due to some players going to the casino. Shane Bieber, not Shane Bieber, Zach Plesac and Mike Clevenger apparently got together, went out, violated the protocol. They have to now quarantine for 72 days. I don't see how they skip a start. I don't know if this is the same way that someone has to serve a suspension, where I feel like all baseball activities are shut down. But hopefully they don't miss their starts, because I have Zach Plesac on my fantasy baseball team and I really need him this week. But it seems like, I guess the rules aren't clear. Mike Clevenger doesn't think he did anything wrong. He was actually coming to the defense of Zach Plesac, and then they ended up quarantining him for 72 hours.
So, like, again, this is one of those situations where it's confusing. If I was a player, I'd be confused too. Wait, okay, so yeah, from what I understood, the rule was in away games, you are quarantined to your, like, you cannot leave your hotel essentially, and MLB's hired compliance officers, or like security guards or whatever. So, but does that apply at home too? Like, are you not allowed to leave your house?
Like if you're in
Or like,
town, Cleveland, they're in Cleveland.
right.
Who's like, do they have like a
When I read
car?
the rule, it says away teams. But so I mean, but that wouldn't make sense, because you can contract the virus as a home team too. Like, you can go to the grocery store to go shopping with your family, but maybe
Well, yeah, it's no, you could
yeah, I don't
definitely
understand the rule.
you could definitely contract the virus. It doesn't care like if you're
Through
away
an
or home.
Amazon package, you know.
The question is that these compliance officers, are they parked outside of everybody's house who's not staying at a hotel for that
Right.
series? Are
And
they?
they were home, from what I understand. Today's the 11th. Saturday. Okay, they were in Chicago, so they were away when this happened.
Okay,
So again, well, then again, this makes my point even more. If in away games there's a compliance officer, you cannot leave your hotel room. Where was the compliance officer? Why weren't Zach Plesac and Mike? Why were Zach Plesac and Mike Clevenger allowed to leave the hotel?
yeah, why did it even get to that point? It almost seems like it'd be better for the league and everyone if they prevented these things from happening in the first place. So yeah, good point. Like where was the officer to prevent this from
Because
happening in the
from
first
what I
place?
understand, the initial memo was that they strongly recommend that you not leave the hotel room. And then last week it was reported that baseball and the union agreed to, like, more strict rules. Like I said, there's going to be a security guard at hotels. You need to wear surgical masks on, like, transportation or whatever. And I think you have to wear masks at all times in the field, unless, like, you're playing or something. Like, if you're in the dugout, you have to wear a mask now or something. But anyway, if those rules went into effect last weekend, again, if this happened on Saturday, they were in Chicago. Baseball should have had a security guard type person there to prevent these two from going out. So again, I think if they test negative 2 times in a row, or maybe they're going to wait that incubation period. So they might miss a start, man. It might be at least a week. Because look at the Cardinals. I mean, they it's. I feel like they haven't played in like 2 weeks at this point.
No, yeah, the Cardinal situation is insane, and now I'm hearing that they might not even. They're just not going to play 60 games. They're not going to be able to get those 60 games. It's impossible. It would have to be a doubleheader almost every at some point in the week. At some point for the rest of the season, 1 week will have to be entirely doubleheaders, maybe or maybe more. So if they're not going to play 60 games, that means if we're going by winning percentage, they can essentially rank higher with less wins than a
Right.
team, kind of like how the Marlins are still in first on the NL East.
Yeah.
And they've only played, I think, like 8 or 9 games. So their winning percentage is better than all the other teams, but they haven't played as many games. So
Yeah, that doesn't seem fair to me, especially in a Central Division where the Brewers, Cincinnati, and Chicago are ahead of them. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And I don't know when they're gonna come back, because I heard that the next series has also been postponed because another player tested positive. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if they knew that it would be this bad, they would have never gone out in the first place because
Yeah,
this
and
is ridiculous already.
yeah. And here's the thing. The thing is that if we want to be honest with ourselves, for the most part, teams are following the protocols, because it's only been the Cardinals and the Marlins that are dealing with these types of situations.
But
Everybody else is doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
but let me ask you something. These
Yeah.
games, so they're getting paid a prorated salary for the 60
Yeah.
game season, right?
Right.
So if the Cardinals don't play the full 60 games, they're losing money.
I believe so. Right.
So wouldn't this be a bigger issue, not for Rob Manfred, but for
The team. Right.
the team and the MLBPA? Because basically, like, you should almost guarantee that if it's the 60 game prorated salary, like that's what you're getting this year, and that there's more money in the playoffs, then it should be more on you. I feel like it falls back on the team and the players, not
Yeah.
not the MLB commissioner, who, yeah, he has part of the blame maybe, but it's almost like you don't need him to put a protocol in place. You should have your own protocol in place, because you just literally screwed over whoever's losing the most money in the 60 game prorated salary scenario. So I almost feel like,
Right.
it's I can't blame Rob Manfred for any of this at this point.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think at the end of the day, he didn't enforce these protocols soon enough. Like, the protocols that they have now should have been in place from the start. Um, so in that regard, yeah, I blame Rob Manfred. But in terms of not being able to control yourself, going to a casino, and now causing all of this to happen, that's on you. That's not on Rob Manfred. Like, what fucking, you 2 months. That's all you had to give us. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
you could get your millions of dollars or a portion of it, and potentially make it to the postseason where you're gonna get paid more because we agreed to give you some more money in that regard. So yeah, I agree. I
I'm
agree
interested.
100%.
I'm interested to see what guys like Paul Goldschmidt, who isn't getting
Yeah,
any younger, who is actually owed a lot of money, like,
and it's sitting on my bench.
yeah, I'm interested to see guys like Goldschmidt, Yadier Molina. I'm not saying these guys, for all I know, these are the guys that set off the chain reaction of we still don't know who it was that tested positive or who went to the casino. It seems like they're keeping that under wraps. Good
I
for them.
guess you remember before the season started, I went over the health and safety protocols, and one of the agreements that they had was that players could stay anonymous.
Yeah.
I think this was why. I didn't consider that, but this has to be why. Because
Yeah.
if you find out that it's, I don't know,
Yadier Molina.
Yadier Molina that went out, and now the team can't play for 2 weeks, and other guys contracted the virus, he could potentially become like like he'll get attacked.
Yeah.
He'll get dragged through the mud. His Hall of Fame, based on the fact that writers can decide upon themselves whenever they feel like voting for a player or not, could decide this motherfucker did something
Yeah.
dangerous. You're not going in the Hall of Fame, even though he's a Hall of Fame catcher.
I
But
didn't even think
there's
about that.
implications. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it was.
I didn't even think about that. And I guess in a way, knowing who tested positive is more of like violating HIPAA laws, maybe,
Yeah.
because it is some
But then again, they tell you when they have Tommy John surgery or
Yeah,
when they, and it's not like if you have coronavirus, like,
I was actually
like you,
think
like you're some toxic person or something, you know what I mean?
I was actually thinking of that yesterday about the whole Tommy John thing. Like if medicine and technology ever advanced far enough where we could predict who was more likely to get Tommy John, that would MLB ever incorporate that uh into their business? Because on the one hand, the owners would love it because their investment would be more secure, or they wouldn't take
Right.
a chance. But on the other hand, if this violates like HIPAA laws or anything, the players could leverage that. Maybe they don't want information like that to get out, uh, because then they won't be able to negotiate a better contract. So I started thinking about that yesterday. Like if they ever figured out a way to predict using technology, like this guy's more likely, 90% more likely to get Tommy John than this guy. I don't think MLB would ever use that sort of power, or the players
Mm.
wouldn't allow it. I almost feel like.
Yeah, probably because it would limit your value without.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bet they could probably eventually find out who's gonna be able, because they could determine who's more likely to have cancer than not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I did 23andMe. They were able to determine if I drink a lot of coffee or not and shit like that. You know what I mean? Based on genetics. So I took that off the road. Um, so okay, so we covered the Cardinals, Zach Plesac and Mike Clevenger. So now baseball's thinking of a postseason bubble. Are you for that? Or what do you think? Do you think the players will go for that? Because
Yeah.
it's at the end of the day, it's 16 teams, so
You know,
that's a lot of players.
it
You
is.
know what I mean?
And the rosters expand in the postseason as well, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. So here's why I think they'll be okay with it. By that time, we're all just going to be so over it. But the teams who are in the playoffs, I would have to think that they're the teams that took all the precautions during the season, and that to them it's not going to be such a big leap to play in a bubble. So I think they'll go for it in the end. And also,
Mm-hmm.
if we keep seeing more, which I do think we'll see more, we'll see another team shut down before the season's over. I think if a third team gets shut down like this, like the Cardinals just went through, they'll have no leverage to say no, we don't want a bubble. It's either going to be like you guys have to take the bubble out at this point. Look at how the
I feel
NBA is
like I
doing.
feel like now they don't have a lot of leverage with two teams already, and
Yeah.
and this Cardinal situation is crazy. Like when is this gonna end? Because somebody else could test positive tomorrow,
And yep, just push it back even further.
and just
But
continue pushing it.
but
So
I don't understand why. I think the best thing that a team, I think the best thing that MLB could do is give this playing time to players that are currently in your system, like in your farm system. Like bring those players up. It'll go against your whole service time thing that you want to
right,
preserve, but that should be the punishment. Like you couldn't get your team under control. You have to field a team of 9 by tomorrow. Call up whoever you have to call up, send down whoever you have to send down, and that's on you. You messed up, so now you have to tap into your farm system and field the team to play this series tomorrow. And guess what? I picked the Cardinals to win the NL Central, I think it was.
hmm
So that definitely hurts your chances to win. I feel like that's the best scenario. Field your team. It's not going to be your best team, but that's on you. So
they've played 5 games, whereas teams like the Cincinnati Reds have played 16 games, and
wow.
the Cubs are up to 13 games. The Braves have played 18 games, so they've been, you know, out of commission for a long time. And this shit is hurting my team, my fantasy team. Paul Goldschmidt is my first baseman. Nobody will take him on a trade. I'm willing to take less for Paul Goldschmidt at this point.
I'll take them.
But all right, man. David Fletcher, bro.
No. Let's but seriously, there must be some, like, they had to agree, not the owners, maybe not the owners, maybe the players had to agree, if we do test positive and have to quarantine, you can't replace us with replacements. You can't call up guys and take money away from us or something. There had to
Yeah,
be some sort of agreement like that. I don't know.
probably, bro. All right. The next thing I wanted to discuss were the Houston Astros, man. They're 7-9 through the first 16 games. They've already had multiple incidents. You have guys like Jose Altuve hitting below the Mendoza line. The Astros are 20th in hitting, according to Fangraphs. In pitching, they are 19th in pitching. So 20th in hitting, 19th in pitching.
As a team,
Again, as a team, a 7-9 record. You have guys like Jose Altuve hitting below the Mendoza line. I know Carlos Correa is having a good season so far, but I think George. I always want to call him Jorge Springer, man. I don't know why this happens. George Springer, in the mid twos. The power is down.
Alex Bregman 224.
Okay. I think Yuli's having a good season.
Michael Brantley
making that up.
Michael Brantley's still having a good season, which I'm so happy for because I've always loved Michael Brantley. I always still picture him in an Indians uniform for some reason, but he's 308 on base 390. So I think he's still as solid of a hitter as I always imagined.
And he was a solid hitter with Cleveland, you know.
He was. That's what I'm saying. Like, and they're striking out a lot too, man.
You have to yell, man.
They're striking out at it.
Yeah, I saw that. Their strikeout rate is up. They're talking about Zach Greinke potentially getting traded again.
Damn.
I don't know where he would go, but so as it stands right now, I think they are good enough to make it to the postseason based on their record.
Because of the expanded playoffs, yep.
But I think, I don't know. It's only been 16 games for them, but I think that could we say officially now that they're not the same team without the cheating, man?
I can't say that because it's
like still... Is Jose Altuve? Is this the real Jose Altuve, or is the one that we've come to know and love, the one that I traded away to you for nothing?
I would have to say that I'm not ready to write them off as a bad team yet because it has only been 16 games, so they could turn it around in the last 2 weeks and still be in the playoff hunt and just tear it up. I would almost have to say that I need to see until everything is back to normal in terms of like season length. If we can start gauging things like in terms of a 162 game season again, I can make a better judgment. Yeah, it's shocking to see guys like Altuve hitting so poorly, but it is still pretty early. It really only has been 16, 17 games. So I'm not ready to say that, but I understand if everyone else agrees that there's clearly something wrong with them and not cheating, like they can't keep up now. I'm just not ready to. I'm not there yet.
So recently, Ramon Laureano charged the dugout after he was plunked for the second time in the game. This time it was a curveball right between the numbers, which typically you think is on purpose. Nothing happened though. He took first base, and then all of a sudden, him and Alex Cintron, who's a coach for the Astros now, are chirping back and forth at each other, and you see Ramon Laureano go after Cintron. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen these videos, but they're surfacing on all over Twitter where Cintron is talking shit, and as soon as Laureano charges him, he puts he has two players come in front of him and then a third player, so he's like hiding behind three guys.
Yeah.
Laureano came out yesterday and apologized. He said, "I regret charging him because he's a loser." A suspension is understandable, but I hope it's not that many games. At the end of the day, I'm here to win the World Series with the Oakland Athletics, this wonderful group of guys. I don't want to be a distraction. Obviously, I am right now. Hey, I've already moved on. I'm facing Julio Teheran today, and that's all I'm thinking about right now. So he takes responsibility, and apparently Cintron says something about his mother or something.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, he instigated it.
He instigated it for sure. He took first base. Why are you chirping at him? Like, that's it. Like,
and it's go. Like go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought.
So Laureano also added, after explaining why he charged Cintron, he said, "Every day I wake up with the motivation to be with them." He's talking about his parents. "They sacrificed their life for me. They made the tough decision to let their own kid go to the States by himself and follow his own dreams. I've been away from my family for 10 years. It's been tough to be away from them. Any chance I have to be with him, I feel like I'm in heaven. So for him to say that to me about my mom, it doesn't sit well. I've got a fire inside me right away. I got a fire inside me right away in that second. So I get it. I understand. You just got plunked between the shoulders. You just exchanged words with the pitcher. You have this guy on the bench talking shit about my parents who, it's COVID-19. I haven't seen them in 10 years. Now I have to worry about their health. I get it, man. I don't blame Laureano, but unfortunately he's gonna get suspended, and I'm not sure how many games it's gonna be.
Man, that Astros organization, because I don't think I've ever seen a coach instigate something like that. And if you look at the John Boy breakdown, he actually took the step. He actually like stepped forward as if he was about to to charge him a little bit, and then that's what set off Laureano. So yeah, that Astros organization just keeps striking out left and right. It's like, who's hiring these guys?
I don't know, man.
I could almost imagine we're not going to hear an apology from this guy.
Probably not. And to be honest with you, it wouldn't be fair, but I don't think people would be too upset if they give Laureano like a slap on the wrist, like one game or some shit like that. I know it's not going to happen because of the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think people would be particularly upset. Astros fans would be, but fuck them at this point.
Yeah,
Sorry, Astros fans. I just
so
I just
yeah,
cursed out a whole fan base.
Back to when he got pegged the second time. It looked like it was a breaking ball, and he was more or less. I know he was upset at the time, so I don't want to just act like Laureano was being innocent, because he just kept saying like, you got to snap your wrist to get that ball in. It's like, bro, just take the base. Like you're leaving the door open at this point. You know what the Astros have been going through. I could imagine all those players are on edge, like Carlos Correa ready to fight off Joe Kelly. He should have just shut the hell up and kept it moving. You just struck out. So
Right.
I think all those players are on edge. Guys like I mentioned, Carlos Correa, are just waiting for a reason to defend themselves because they've had it at this point. They're still young. Like, just imagine me and you dealing with all this, Chris, even though we cheated. Like, just imagine all of us dealing with all this crap. So I'm not gonna act like Laureano did everything right.
Right.
But it was that coach that instigated it. So I actually hope that coach gets a harsher suspension. And yeah, that it's unfortunate. It makes for exciting TV. But Astros once again in the news for the wrong reasons.
And it was to piggyback off of your point, the Athletics are also the best team in baseball, and they were riding like an 8-game win streak at that point. They lost their first game yesterday, so it was an 8-game extended to 9, and then Mike Trout put the nail in the coffin in the 8th inning yesterday. But bad timing for Laureano. I'm surprised that they haven't announced a suspension yet. Maybe there won't be one. I don't know. I'd be shocked though, considering that it incited a brawl. Like, there was a lot of people on top of each other. And you're not supposed to do that.
If the Joe Kelly one brought on an 8-game suspension,
right?
I still think 8 games for Laureano will be too harsh.
Yeah,
but but then again, like we're so now I'm saying, yeah, hopefully MLB doesn't go too harsh. If the Joe Kelly incident was 8 games, Laureano's has to be more.
Yeah,
but we don't want it to be more. So
Joe Kelly's a pitcher though, so maybe it won't be that much more.
Yeah, but Joe Kelly never even hit him.
I know.
And there wasn't even a brawl. It was just a very like, well, bro, what did you say to me? And Carlos Correa, yeah, bro, keep walking. Yeah. I just struck out, but yeah, look, we can duke it out right here. And the guy's like, you're a baby.
Yeah, if anything, Carlos Correa was,
didn't get anything,
inciting it, and he didn't get anything.
He didn't get anything. But so do we really think that MLB is gonna do the moral thing here and slap Laureano on the wrist when they gave Joe Kelly 8 games for not hitting anyone and not starting a brawl? So yeah. Why do I feel like MLB is gonna go one step further? It's like 20-game suspension, like 1/4 of the season. Get out of here.
And we're gonna reward the Astros with 10 wins for this. We apologize, Astros. No, they're gonna sit back and they're gonna pull an A-Rod. Here's our daily A-Rod mention right there. Want to know what the A-Rod is? Is doing what you think looks good but makes you look silly at the end of the day. Like it's not the smart decision. Like when A-Rod kisses Rob Manfred's ash on ESPN on that first game between the when Thunder struck the back of Rob Manfred's head. That's what I call an A-Rod. Doing what I think is the right thing or looks good, but it makes me look silly and dumb.
To err is human. And the guy is just a human being, man. Like, damn it.
Oh my god. Sorry, man. I just had to throw that out there. That just came to me right now, man. Damn, I'm good. Anyway, so all right. So the other connection, and this is a good thing that you brought up how Laureano was telling him to snap it, and that the ball,
But see
if it wasn't intentional,
that
it hit him between the numbers.
Well, that's the thing. A breaking ball should never be looked at as intentional. It's a breaking ball. Like, for him to want to peg you with a breaking ball, he might as well just peg you with a fastball. But Laureano leaving those comments out there, like, you got to snap your wrist. You got to know that any baseball player is gonna take that in a worse criticism way, no matter which way you spin it. So anyone out there trying to defend the guy, saying like, oh, he was just telling him to snap his wrist, like, what's the big deal? Fuck that shit. These guys are grown men. They're professionals. As a professional pitcher, I don't want to hear a batter telling me how to throw a pitch. Like, does that make sense? So
I get it. That's like another way of saying, like, man, you fucking suck. You don't know how to play baseball. You know what I mean? He might as well have been saying that,
Like, hey, by the way, you should snap your wrist more. For real? For real? Like, you're so, like, would you agree that Laureano is partially responsible for how this played out? Okay.
Sure.
Because to me, if I got hit with a breaking ball, I shouldn't have any beef. It's unfortunate that I got pegged twice, but I shouldn't have any beef with that. But all right, go ahead. Sorry,
sure. All right. So the connections here. On when did Garrett Cole start? Saturday, I think it was.
Yeah.
Somebody released the video right before he got knocked out of the game of him adjusting his cap, and when he removes his hands from his cap, they stick to it, like his fingers stick. So obviously he has a sticky substance on his cap, and it made me wonder, when the Astros cheating scandal happened, you didn't hear much from Garrett Cole. You heard Justin Verlander shove his foot in his mouth a number of times, but you didn't hear anything from Garrett Cole. And it made me remember when Garrett Cole was traded to the Astros early 2018, Trevor Bauer was accusing the Astros of using a sticky substance. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember.
And he wasn't trying to make the case that they're cheating. He was saying they're cheating essentially because they were breaking the rules, but he was trying to make the case that baseball should allow it. And you and I have always talked about how we should legalize pine tar and all this shit. But anyway, Garrett Cole, pine tar, illegal substance. How does that make you feel?
I don't have any problem with that. And it's probably going to get exposed more now that they have more control of what balls they use. So I don't have any problem with that. I think Trevor Bauer's biggest beef was he had recently gashed his finger and needed to use, like, I guess, like one of those like liquid band-aids on his.
Remember that?
On his
and blood gushing everywhere.
And the Astros complained, saying that he shouldn't be allowed to pitch with that stuff. So that I remember that being Trevor Bauer's beef. Yeah. But I don't have a problem with pitchers using pine tar. I wish that we could all agree that pine tar is still breaking the rules. So if MLB ever wanted to do anything about it, we wouldn't be able to really like have an argument there.
It's just one of those things. Like I remember as a Yankees fan, that series where Joe Torre moved A-Rod to bat seventh or something, was against the Tigers. I can't remember what year it was. But there was a game where Kenny Rogers was pitching, and it was like clear as day. I remember I was in a bar. These are the days where I was young. Anyway, so I was at a bar, and I remember just being like, yo, Joe Torre, like, fucking go out there. Like, he's cheating. He has pine tar. It's clear. Or I think it was in the bill of his cap. Like, this here was like black. Minus black, so you can't tell. But and then I remember in the 2017 World Series, maybe it was last year, I can't remember, but Clayton Kershaw had in the back of his cap, you could Google it, And it's clear as day he had pine tar in the back of his cap. There's another, the Kikuchi incident. I don't know if you remember that one last year, where he had pine tar in the bill here too. A number of instances where this has happened, and you always hear people saying that everybody does it. So
It has to
just
be.
fucking just legalize it, because if you leave it up for interpretation and you know that everybody does it, but you're not punishing guys, and then one day somebody just calls it out, like then they like Michael Pineda situation, right? Even though that was aggressive, it's not fair almost. You know what I mean? Like if I want to be a dick and I really need to win this game, it's game 7 of the World Series and it's Max Scherzer on the mound. I'm gonna ask my pitcher, yo, where do you think he has that pine tar right now? And I'm gonna go to the umpires and say, hey, can you check his and get him out of the game? And it works to my advantage. I don't know. I just don't like it. Just allow it.
And
Let it be. And it's safer too because you have control of the ball. Like if that guy had pine tar, he might not have drilled Ramon Laureano.
MLB, like clearly people are okay with it because if it's clear to us, it's clear to the managers. So they're not complaining about it for the opposing pitcher. A lot of pitchers are using it. So if MLB would just legalize and remove that rule, they could control it. They could maybe have like a little dispenser like at the side of a mound instead of having this gunk on your hat. And the new rule could be, this is what we consider as a usable foreign substance. Anything that's not on this list, if you get busted for something not on this list as a substance to get a better grip on your baseball, now we have a problem. Now you can't, because then I could think guys can get creative and you know, the spitball days, they had to ban the spitball because it was too insane of a pitch and stuff, you know? So
it was like Vaseline or something.
Yeah. So I think if MLB can just, it's a simple fix. And what I don't understand is that they're perfectly fine with 7-inning doubleheaders and having a guy on second after the 12th inning and changing rules like, you know, the this guy needs to pitch the 3 batters before you switch him. Like they're fine with changing all these rules, but something that's been part of the game as long as pine tar has been available, or lotion or whatever the hell you can use to grip any to get a better grip on the baseball, you know, you don't even hear this stuff being talked about. So
I think it's one of those things that falls in line with steroids almost. Like it's always been viewed as cheating. So baseball is afraid to approach anything like that because people, you know, these old farts who are gonna die out soon, and baseball doesn't realize that.
Oh man.
They're not going to be around to be like, oh, you know, in my day, you couldn't use pine tar on the mound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck you, man. The game is new. Like, there's a new generation out here. Like,
and they were doctoring the balls. Like they were like scuffing them and spitting on them and trying to get an edge. Like they were doing things that you couldn't do, still doing it.
And you'll get more entertaining baseball again. Another one of the most entertaining things about the game, aside from the home run, there's accounts, Twitter accounts. I write for a website, Pitcher List, who's like dedicated to this is pitch movement, right? So with a foreign substance, you have better control and you have more pitch movement. You have more of this videos, more of this content. It's better for your sport. Like these are the kinds of things that baseball should, like for me, if you want to fix the sport, yes, shortening the games is going to help for sure because people don't have an attention span in this world anymore. But another way to make the game entertaining is to make the product on the field better. And let's be honest, the product on the field was more entertaining when guys were hitting 60 home runs per season. And it's more entertaining when a pitcher dominates or throws a sick pitch. Like, who is this guy from Tampa? I think his last name was Rowe or something.
Yeah.
I texted you guys on the group chat. His fucking slider breaks like 15 to 20 inches. It's sick. It looks like a wiffle ball. So allow steroids, A, and B, allow sticky substances on the mound.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to bring up that we just mentioned like a minute ago, I was listening to the Michael K show Saturday, so it was Friday's episode that they uploaded to the podcast. And him and Dom had a very good discussion about the 7-inning doubleheaders. So Michael K ended up loving the 7-inning doubleheader. And some players enjoyed it as well because if they could incorporate that into the regular season, it can lead to an additional day off, I guess, every week.
Right.
In this already gruesome long season. So Dom was all for it. Michael K wasn't 100% all for it. I think his thing was they would never go for it because you're cutting off another essentially 2 innings of screen, airtime where ads can run, and you're now also getting rid of certain positions like mid relief roles maybe.
Right.
What do you think?
They were talking about like making every game 7 innings.
That's what
So
Dom alluded to, yeah, eventually.
yeah, so first I think that I agree. I don't think every game should be 7 innings, but I do think that they should do 7 inning doubleheaders. And then you could do like every Sunday. I think like back in the day every Sunday was a doubleheader or something. I can't remember. I remember hearing that somewhere. I don't know if that's true or not. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure it is. But anyway, you could do that again every Sunday or Saturday, whenever, and like give every team a Monday off or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and I'm open to the idea of a doubleheader every Sunday, 7 innings. I'm into that idea, but the idea to make baseball 7 innings, I know it's the sport has changed over the last 150 years. So has NBA, so has the NFL, so has hockey. Like all these sports keep changing, and clearly it's working because they keep generating more and more money every year, right? But
Right.
my issue with making the game 7 innings is just that I feel like we're at the more time advances, the less we're asking of these athletes. It's almost like they're already getting days off scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
If we incorporate 7 inning doubleheaders, what are the chances that every player is going to play both games? Like, I'm pretty sure
Right.
a lot of the players will play one game, sit out the next because they don't want to
At least the
push
catcher.
at least the catcher. So you're already going to get even more. You're going to get less playing time for certain players already, right? And I
Right.
just feel like if we're going to make it 7 innings, where does it end? Like, it's still going to be a 160 game season. So the thought of shortening the season to 140 games or 144, whatever that number was that they were throwing around,
Mm-hmm.
is still going to be out there. And there is something about the number 9 innings, 9 players, 27 up, 27 down. It's like, where does it end? I feel like we're coddling these guys too much. They already don't pitch as long as they used to. They already don't
Right.
play as many games as they used to. They're already getting injured way more than they used to. Um, I don't think 7 innings is going to change the grind of the season, and it's not going to
No.
change all the injuries that we're seeing. I think the fact that these players are all pushing themselves to the limits of what an athlete could be in baseball is what's causing all these injuries, and that's not going to change. So I almost would have to say I'm not for this 7 inning change ever, because
No.
I don't because I don't think it's ever going to end. Like, we're going to keep reducing what these guys can do. Like, it's going to get worse.
Right. I'm okay with it in doubleheader situations. Other than that, no, I agree with you. And
Yeah.
again, there's other ways to improve the sport. Like what I am okay with is I don't mind the runner in second base rule. I don't like it right off the bat. Like I think if you're entering the 13th inning, just a random, maybe you play 3 innings, extra innings, and then after that, it's put a runner on second base just to speed the shit up. Like, um, that's one way to speed up the game and to make the game a little bit more excited. Again, allow sticky substances, allow being serious, allow PEDs under
Controlled.
the guise of a team doctor, like in football they have team doctors and shit. And allow more access to these players. Like I know that baseball is getting a little bit better with allowing their content to be shared freely. Like the company that I'm writing for now, they had been shut down a couple of times by MLB for pitching gifts and shit like that, and now baseball kind of lets them do it. Like, yeah, keep doing stuff like that. Those are some ways to make the sport more entertaining. Also, and this is gonna touch on the next topic I want to talk about. Service time needs to be shortened like tremendously.
Yep.
Because another way to make the sport more exciting is to give guys like Kyler Murray an incentive to want to go to MLB and not the NFL.
I
You know
agree.
what I'm saying? These are more exciting players. Think of Deion Sanders when he played MLB. Think of Bo Jackson. Think about all these multi-sport athletes who wanted to play baseball. Michael Jordan. None of them want to do it now because what's their incentive? They're gonna sit in the minors for fucking 7 years before being called up, and then they have to wait another number of years before they become free agents. Like that has to go away too. And what I'm talking about is the Marcus Stroman situation.
Yeah.
So he opted out yesterday after essentially being cleared to play. Like I think he was going to start in today's Mets game, and he decided to opt out because he said it was family reasons, COVID concerns. Personally, I don't believe it. I think that because he had complaints before the season started too, and I don't blame him. But anyway, let me just lay it down for people who don't know what's going on. He had a calf injury, I think it was, and was rehabbing it throughout the start of the season. So he started the season on the IL. When you're on the IL, you can collect service time. He had collected enough service time that he could opt out, and he's still going to be a free agent in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So he gamed the system, and I don't blame him because MLB games the system too. Think Chris Bryant when they kept him in the minors so that they can keep him for another year under control. And many other players that MLB does this to. I think that Stroman, I don't think the injury was on purpose. I think he was going to start the season, and had he started the season, he might have finished it because he doesn't want to abandon his teammates. But after seeing what happened with Yoenis Cespedes, which the Mets haven't really clarified, it sounds like the Mets are trying to be assholes to him, even though he looks like a complete jerk, and he should look like a jerk.
Yeah.
The team is not that good. I think he was ready to come back. He's looked at his situation. He said, I could become a free agent anyway. I don't have to play this season. My team is probably not going to make the postseason if they keep playing like this. I'm opting out. They fuck me. You know, the system fucks over players all the time. I don't think it was like I'm giving it back to them. I think it was just more motivation for him not to come back. Like,
It was
why
good.
You know what I mean?
It's good business because he's not putting himself at risk by doing this.
Right.
So he has the most to gain. But I'm wondering, like, yeah, he's sticking it to the system that has screwed over guys like Chris Bryant already and all that stuff. I get it. But in this situation, the Mets traded for Marcus Stroman. So essentially
two good pitching prospects.
Two good pitching.
But that I put on Brody Van Wagenen, man. Like
no. Yeah, I put it on Brody.
Sucks as a GM.
No, I put it on Brody Van. Yeah, whatever. Brody V. I hate saying that guy's name, man. I feel like I don't know. I hate saying that name.
He's like one of these guys that ties sweaters around his neck and like goes, "Hey, you want to play? What is that game? Squash?
I don't know, man.
Where they slap the ball and they're like in a glass room.
Oh yeah. That's called. I think it is called squash. Yeah.
Squash, right? Yeah.
Whatever it's called. We know. You guys know what we're talking about. But
hey, you want to do brunch this weekend?
But what I'm saying is that they traded for Marcus Stroman clearly because they want him to help them be a better team. So it's like if he could play, if it's really because of COVID, it's because of COVID. Like I'm not gonna be upset. But if you really just did this because you wanted to like prove a point that you're going to sign your contract on your terms or whatever this is, wouldn't it be better if you did play? I mean, what is he really? He's a free agent next season, so he's probably going to end up signing a 1-year deal. You're going to be a year older. Wouldn't it have been better for you to perform during these circumstances where you're kind of given a pass if you're not as dominating as you could be? You know, like I don't really see what he has to gain from this other than if he's really concerned about COVID, you know, then I get it. But you have an opportunity here to really prove yourself. And you're also letting a lot of teammates down because you're not just some guy that they're holding back. Like you're not like this up and coming prospect. You're already established as a starting pitcher. So It's like kudos to him for getting it done and safe and sound. If it's about COVID, it's about COVID, whatever. But it's also not, it doesn't sit right with me that he's that maybe he did this just to spite the organization or whatever.
Yeah. So I think I don't. When he spoke in his press conference yesterday, he said that he loved playing for the Mets, that he wishes he could have taken the ball again for them, and that if this is it, then he doesn't regret like his time with the Mets. He enjoyed playing for the team and whatever. But I'm not trying to say that I'm not trying to say that he's doing this to screw the organization. I think it was just he had no incentive to want to go back because the how MLB's service time thing system works against the player's interest, so they have no qualms about holding a player down when it's convenient to them. So I think that that didn't provide incentive for him, and that he was already eligible for free agency. He probably put all these things together and said, I don't have to come back. Like, had maybe teams been more proactive about calling players up, like Gavin Lux. A lot of people feel like they held him down because of service time. Chris Bryant, stuff like that. If the system was a little bit more fair in baseball, I saw like I'm talking about like the justice system or something, but maybe he would have been like, maybe he would have had some incentive to come back. Like, oh, they treated me right. Like I've always had opportunity, blah blah blah, which he has had. But you got what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Then maybe he would be like, okay, I'll come back and play. Like this, this league cares about us. They're doing the right thing. But it just time and time again, the league keeps dropping the ball on these types of issues, and I feel like it just didn't provide him with enough incentive to want to come back.
Yeah, no, and I'm not trying to defend like MLB or make it seem like Marcus Stroman is being greedy here. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the team is losing the most at this point. Like in this particular situation, they already lost Cespedes, they already lost Noah Syndergaard, Marcus Stroman opts out, and that team just looks dead. Like they don't look.
Well,
they really don't.
That Cano trade is looking like one of the worst trades ever.
Yeah, because that prospect that they traded away is pretty good, I hear.
And I think he still has like 4 years left on his deal, and he doesn't look like Cano anymore. He's a DH. So you're going to have to hope that MLB implements the universal DH rule moving forward, not just for this season, because for the Mets especially, that's what he is at this point,
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, they have some pretty decent, promising players. I feel bad for guys like Jacob deGrom, like probably the best pitcher in baseball, and he's pitching for that organization. You have guys like Pete Alonso, who's starting off slowly, but he's starting to hit again, playing for that organization. You have guys like Jeff McNeil, who they call the Squirrel, and I think it's fucked up because he looks like a squirrel. They have Michael Conforto. They have a decent team. You know what I mean? But they're run so poorly. It's insane.
So I remember listening to that Michael K episode also, and one of the guys that they had interviewing said, I think it might have been John Heyman, actually. I don't know. Whoever goes on the Buster Only, one of those guys that go on the Michael K show weekly, said that his sources, have told him that there's a team in the major leagues that's they're really just trying to get done with the season. They're over it. They're not really my light just went out.
Se fue la luz.
They're one of the more promising teams in baseball, but the players are over it. They're not trying to compete. They're annoyed with the whole quarantine situation, so they're over it. And I think it's the Mets, man, because like
it has to be.
They look dead. They can't string together hits. DeGrom is like a bright spot. Pete Alonso's a bright spot. Steven Matz sucks. So
at this point, when Edwin Diaz blows a save, he just starts laughing.
Like yeah. Like I feel like they're over it, and I think it's the Mets, because guys like, I can picture a guy like Cano being over it. A guy that's a millionaire that has nothing else to prove in baseball, already receives criticism for not busting it down the line. Like I would allude that a guy like Cano is over it.
Yeah, Cano, who by the way during summer camp up and went to DR for like a week and a half and provided no explanation and just said, I just wanted to go see my mom, and I kept working out. Like, I don't know, man. That team just befuddles me, and I don't know what the situation is. They keep acting like it's gonna be Cohen's team, but I don't know if it's been finalized yet. Yeah, and I kind of feel bad for that organization because
Me too.
it's just it's like the Knicks. Like I feel like if the Knicks and I know that Dolan also runs the Rangers, the New York Rangers in hockey, and they're good, but I feel like they're just run really badly. If they had smarter people running their organizations, I think they'd be better off for sure. I think that is all I have for today.
I just wanted to highlight an MLB baseball player who I think might be one of the greatest things to happen to the sport in modern day, and that's Juan Soto. I think he's the new Albert Pujols, man. The machine. The kid's a monster, and what I want to highlight is the little shimmy that he does when a pitcher throws a ball in the dirt, throws a ball, is one of the greatest things. I don't know what's so great. Like it's I've never seen nothing like that before. It's essentially you're trash talking before the outcome of your at bat. So whereas a pitcher can get offended for a bat flip or a batter staring at his hit for too long, his home run, Juan Soto is in your face doing his little dance, nodding, like he nods at the pitcher when they throw a strike right down the middle. He's almost like, all right. Like the guy backs up. He's like in yesterday's Met game, Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling, the two guys that do the Mets game, they were talking so much shit about the Nationals because the Nationals were up by like 12 runs and they weren't taking the extra base like on a base hit. So in that one,
Fuck that man, I hate that rule.
No, I hate that rule too. And they were saying like, I don't understand why these Nationals players aren't taking the extra base. It's almost like they were getting a hit in the gap and like just advancing one run as almost to not run up to score even more. And they even had a couple comments like, as a pitcher, as a competitor, I would hate if a guy like Juan Soto was doing that and I'm pitching. Like I try to run one up and in. Juan Soto ends up getting another hit, and they just had to give in that this guy is special. Like there's something about Juan Soto. You can't knock him. You can't knock him for doing that. It's almost like if Yasiel Puig was doing this, you'd have a good legit reason to be annoyed because Yasiel Puig is only beasting like 1/5 of the time of his playing or whatever. But Juan Soto, man, like I've never seen anything like it. Today I love it. I love the shimmy. I love the aggressiveness. I love that he's 21, however young he is.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I honestly think this guy is the new Albert Pujols, man. And
I'm with you, man.
It doesn't matter if you put a lefty up or a righty, he's going to do damage.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he really is, man. And I'm hoping that this is like the future of baseball. Maybe like a little spice to your at bat before it even comes up.
You're seeing it across the league with younger players, right in the same division in the Atlanta Braves. You have Ronald Acuna, who's I don't even know how he plays or runs and steals bases because it looks like he has like 20 pounds worth of chains around his neck and that hair.
Yeah.
You have Fernando Tatis Jr. is a beast. That's another one right there.
Yep.
Who reminds me a lot of Juan Soto, makes the game so exciting and he's so much fun to watch, I honestly I think the sport is in good shape. They're just gonna have to make little changes here and there to make the game more attractive for people. And I think that they're in the right kind of frame of thought with the 7-inning doubleheaders and with the runner on second base. As much as I hated that rule, just don't do it right in the 10th inning. Let them play another, third of a game or something before you implement that rule. But I think and then instead of putting the runner in second, just do a home run derby. But anyway,
I hate that. I hate the runner on second rule, and I just want to repeat my obsession
eliminate
with
the home run trot.
Stop. My obsession with Juan Soto currently is that he's putting it in your face, and the at bat hasn't even finished yet. So it's like
I know
he's leaving himself vulnerable to fail, but he still does it. And yesterday he hit a home run, hits a double, hits a single. and it's just like it's like he found a loophole in the unwritten rules of baseball because they don't like it. Pitchers don't like it, but what is he gonna do? Peg him mid at bat and give him the base? It's almost like
Exactly.
it's amazing, man. And it's very entertaining as well. So, I really hope
he's the original, giving the Astros a taste of their own medicine guy too. Before
Yep.
this whole sign stealing scandal, the Bregman carried his bat all the way to first base. Then Soto responded with a bomb, carried his bat to first base.
Yeah,
like,
man. He already has. I'm telling you, like he's already a playoff hero already.
Yeah,
this guy's not.
And he's 21 years old.
We gotta fact check that 21 year. I'm going based off.
I'm on Baseball Reference right now. He's 20. He's 21 years, 291 days. He's about to be 22 on October.
And this guy barely played in Double A and got called up. Like, talk about service time, man. Like, Jesus.
By the way, born October 25th, 1998.
Wow.
Goddamn, I'm old, man.
Just to end it off on this note, we didn't really talk Boston and Yankees. I believe they face each other this upcoming weekend, so we'll definitely
easy win.
We'll definitely talk about this.
The first place New York Yankees versus the last place Boston Red Sox. Yankees 10-6. Red Sox flip that record 6-10. But you're only 4 games behind.
We lost a heartbreaker yesterday. We lost a heartbreaker yesterday to the Rays, but that's baseball, baby.
The Rays are good, man.
Yeah,
I like that team. Anyway.
Well, Manny, thanks for having me.
First time, long time. Thank you for taking my call, and peace out.
All right, man. Take care.